wanna heal? Yeah. Wait, I gotta feel? No. Ooh, I just don't know. But I wanna grow. Where can I go? To a safe place.
Hello, family, and welcome to a Safe Space podcast. I am your host, Michaela Forbes, and we continue the discussion on healing after divorce. Today we welcome our guest, our special guest, Mr. Jason Ferguson. Hey, Jason.
Michaela, hi.
What you saying?
I'm great. Mm-hmm. Thanks for having me on a safe space. It's going to be an excellent conversation. Mm-hmm. Look forward to it.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. I know Jason. Jason goes to my church, Bahamas Harvest. Give it up, Jason. Bahamas Harvest, yay!
PHC.
Shameless plug, but not shame. Okay? But the first time I saw you, Jason, I think when you spoke on the Future Wifey podcast, and you shared your story. But what I learned about you this week is that both your kids live with you.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I was shocked. I want to commend you because some kids don't have a father growing up their life, and you have both of your kids living with you and raising them right because you did a prayer live on parenting. So I want to commend you today before we start.
Thank you. And that's such an amazing responsibility. It's not easy, but we do everything we do through the grace of God. Yes.
So, Jason, you shared your story on a Future Wifey podcast. Mm-hmm. And I remember you calling yourself the perfect project. For our audience, I would like you to expand on why you call yourself the perfect project.
Oh, so thanks for that question. The perfect project, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. For me, it means that I'm complete, but I'm not finished. Mm. So I like to use the analogy of Sunday breakfast, if you will, or Sunday dinner. Mm. So, for example, right?
Yes.
So, the chef inside the kitchen, she's going to, he or she, they're going to prepare the rice, the macaroni, the coleslaw, right? Let's go for some lamb chops. What else we got in there?
Potato salad.
We got some potato salad.
Hello. I like two meats.
Any grouper? Any grouper? We got some grouper.
Two meats, yes.
There, right? And the thing about it is, though, once the chef is done, the meal is completed, but it's not finished. That's true. Right? That's true. For me, it's finished once someone eats it.
That's true.
Okay? So for me, in my life, in my walk with Christ, I see myself as complete, but not finished. And what that means for me is that through my journey with Christ, I understand what my soil is. I understand what my seed is, what my fruit is. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I'm not finished until someone eats it. Until I feed that to someone.
Okay, interesting.
And so what's so interesting is in the different environments of which I'm a part, so I help with youths in Harvest. I'm a banker by profession. I have champion bunches. I notice that I feed those, though in those environments, my fruit appears different. Right? So I guess the not finished part is I see God creating different recipes with me as we go through this journey. And every day I learn a new recipe of how to share myself with the world.
That's an awesome analogy. And I sum it up as growth. I think we should aim to be growing every single day. And sometimes growth is hard because, I remember myself, sometimes somebody tell me something about myself, I ain't happy right away. But if I hear it from, let's say, 2 or 3 people that I know love me and are saying it for the right reasons, and I look at myself and I say, hey, Michaela, how can you grow in this area? Will this make you better? Yes. Or will this make you worse? And usually it's gonna make me better. So I think what you're talking about is growth. Yes. And I applaud you for that. Now I want to ask this question. How do I word this? Why is it so important for you to grow? I know you talked before, and you talked about layers and peeling back the layers. Yeah. To the average person, sometimes it's not important for them to peel back the layers because there's pain there. Mm-hmm. Why was it so important to Jason to peel back those layers?
So that's a skill, and thanks for that question. That's a learned skill. And to your earlier point, it was painful learning it. Yeah. I love analogies, so forgive me if I use another one.
I like your analogies.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So the thing about it is, we've all experienced a parent cleaning, right? Mm-hmm. So your mom may be inside the kitchen cleaning the dishes, right? And she allows you to stay inside the front room. The front room is dirty. She allows you to stay in that front room while she cleaning that front room, right? Mm-hmm. However, when she is ready to kind of move into that front room, you have to leave. what I experienced in my life is particularly after the divorce, right? After my divorce, I was allowed to blossom and grow and kind of fill the void in my life with two things. With God, that's the first thing. And there's the second thing. The second thing was women.
Oh, okay.
I know. It's kind of like this. It's like, how does that work? How does that connect those dots? Which is like your parent cleaning the dishes and you in the front room. So while God was cleaning one area of my life, there were other areas, like Steve Harvey said, he's still working on me, that he was kind of cleaning up. And here's what I understood and what I realized and what I grew to appreciate as he was cleaning me up. The more deep and dark spaces God cleaned up, the less space I had to hide.
That's true.
All right?
That's true.
And I don't know if you've ever cleaned and then as you clean, you find things that you didn't know you had. It was like, where the socks come from? I've been looking for the socks for years, right?
Or clean and then you got to clean that same spot again. Like, I just cleaned that spot.
Like, seriously, right?
Clean that spot.
Or where does belt come from?
Yeah.
So for me, as God cleaned, I discovered layers. I discovered parts of myself that I had forgotten. Right? I talk about soil, seed, and fruit. I discovered these parts of myself.
Yes.
And I like what you said just now in terms of sometimes you clean a spot and it gets dirty. The reality of that is when you clean that particular spot, when God has taken the time to clean you up from being the filthy person that you were, you will think 3 and 4 times before you actually go back and dirty that spot again.
Yeah.
So I'm passionate about layers because I understand where I came from and I can truly appreciate where God has brought me.
Yes. And one thing I say that God will meet you wherever you are.
Yeah.
So don't think that you're in a space or too far gone for God to meet you.
Exactly.
So God will meet you wherever you are. So I'm a writer. So therefore it forces me to peel back my layers, even layers I don't want to deal with, you know. So I encourage you to find whatever in your life encourages you to peel back your layers.
Yes, that's good.
So Jason, in our conversations, I realized you and I have something in common. We both grew up without our biological father in our life. I would like you to tell myself and the audience, how has that affected your relationships, especially your marriage, your previous marriage?
Also, thanks for that. So I'll start off initially by saying, for me, even though I had I don't want to call him my stepfather because he was in my life for a considerable amount of time, I did feel the void of not having my biological father, in my life. And what I noticed, the impact that had on me was trust.
It was trust.
Okay? I because there was a strained relationship or no relationship, because I met him at 25, it impacted all of my relationships after that. Okay, because where there was a connection with the only word I could say is stepfather, but he was my actual father. There was a connection there. There was a connection with my mom, but it wasn't, in my mind, all of what I needed.
Okay.
All right. And I understand, I honestly believe that both of my parents gave me the best they could.
Yes.
And they poured into me as much as they can.
Yes.
However, there was more that I needed.
Yes.
All right. And not knowing any of my parents, I feel, because they were in my life, but I didn't know them.
Yes. Yeah.
The way I wanted to know them, and I didn't feel them. So what it made it difficult for me for future relationships to feel. All right. And to understand and to learn how to get to know someone. Because honestly, like, our parents are our first role models in life on how to interact.
Yes, they are.
We learn how to trust from our parents. We learn how to communicate from our parents. We learn how to feel, how to live life. And for me, not having that connection with that really deep-rooted connection with any of them, it made it difficult for me to kind of practice that in my other relationships.
I like something you said. You said parents they're mostly doing the best that they can. So I feel like when we become adults, when we are children, we're like, you know what, whatever for our parents. But when we become adults, we realize that they had their own trauma and they're really doing the best they can with what they know.
Yes.
Okay? So we can appreciate that as adults. But I think this conversation is more just to talk about your trauma and to heal from it.
Exactly.
So I grew up without my father. My father lived in Nassau, but he came from Eleuthera to Nassau. So he worked in Nassau, but he lived in Eleuthera. And my mom and him had a relationship. And she was about 19, and he was 22. And when my mom had me and a baby in the hospital, the nurse told my mom, my daddy was married. And that relationship ended right there. Okay, so I didn't grow up with my father in my life. And it affected me a whole, I would say, deeply. And I didn't know how deep until after I got divorced. And what I want to say, when I was a child from 12, 13, I am looking for love in all the wrong places from a male. No matter how much my mom said, I love you, my aunt said, I love you, I'm looking for it from a male to see how that looks like, how that feels like. And I searched for that for years and years and years. And I'm finally creating a relationship with my dad in my 40s. And and actually peeling back those layers.
Oh, that's good. That's great. That's good. I applaud you for that.
Yes. So thank you, Jason. But we're going to take a break and hear from our sponsors at this time. A special thanks goes out to all our sponsors. Jadazzles, Hair by Onyx, Makeup by Ajua, Maybelline, distributed by Lowe's Pharmacy, and On Point Shipping. Thank you very much. Welcome back to a Safe Space podcast. Joining us today is a friend of the Safe Space podcast, Miss Ria Christina. Hey, Ria.
Hey, Michael.
So Ria and I met. Ria's a small group leader at Legacy Church, and we met when her church facilitated a program called Divorce Care. Ria, please tell us more about that program before we move ahead.
All right, thank you so much. So Divorce Care is really a 13-week program that was designed to help those persons who are not only in the divorce space, but those persons who may be, they're not quite sure as to exactly where it is that they are, and they want to have a set program that can help them to start to peel back some of those layers in terms of thought processes, and even bring them to the point of coming to a place of decision. Should I go through with a divorce, or is this something that I can now work through? Because we found that people have had an opportunity to, in some instances, learn more about themselves, and now better positions them to say, something, I need to approach this in a different way.
Yes. So Ria, I would like you to add to the conversation that me and Jason were having. Him and I didn't grow up with our biological fathers. Did you grow up with your mother and your biological father and mother?
Yes, I actually grew up with both my father and mother. My father died when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
Now, of course, you can imagine, I was daddy's little girl.
Yes.
So there was a whole lot of devastation that I experienced, having to navigate that space. And then, of course, I smiled as you talked about looking for love in all the wrong places. And then it's not necessarily in all the wrong places. I didn't go all over the place. But I will say that after my father died, there was a void. And shortly thereafter, I met my husband. So we were dating since I was 13.
13?
Yes.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And of course, that was a journey in and of itself. And I'm still grateful to God for the journey, but it was one of those things, there were many times that I considered, had my father still been alive, what would have been?
Exactly.
I mean, it's one of those questions that still remain. I don't have an answer to it.
Exactly.
But what I do know is that God knows all things.
Yes,
God knows all things. And I trust that he definitely had a plan for my life, and he has a plan for my life, which is having to navigate the space of being a teenager, losing your father, navigating that space, getting married at the age of 19. And
early.
then after, it was very early. So after getting married at the age of 19 and then having to go and navigate a divorce. And so it's been a very interesting journey.
Yes. I started dating around that tender age of 13 too, and you really don't know yourself. So at this point, I figure out how are we dating when we don't know ourselves, because it's so important for me to know myself to go and date now. But back then we didn't know ourselves, we were just dating. That's my girlfriend, that's my boyfriend, that's it. So thank you for sharing that with us. So I want to talk about starting over. Starting over is difficult, right? Let me start back with Jason. Jason talked about coping mechanisms, some that are healthy and some that are not healthy. So Jason, share with us some not healthy coping mechanisms that you found after divorce, and maybe some better ones that you discovered.
So thank you for that. I'd say there's one word for me that kind of helps me when I talk about coping mechanisms, and that's vulnerability. So let's talk about how vulnerability doesn't look. For me, I didn't allow myself to feel the pain and the separation. And remember, I said I filled the void. So these aren't real names. I filled the void with Susie.
Okay.
With Rachel. Who else? Give me a next name.
My Lord, Jane.
Michelle.
So, and it was so unfair to them. I have a daughter, and it was not unfair in that I was mean to them, but then to your point, I didn't fully unpack the pain. I wasn't vulnerable in allowing God to help me to unpack the pain from my previous situation.
Yes.
And here I am now.
Moving into?
Serving myself to someone else.
Yes.
So for me, what I had to learn was vulnerability. I had to learn how to allow God to clean those crevices, those uncomfortable spaces, those spaces where said, well, you had something to do with that. She ain't all wrong. And she a lot more right than she is wrong. So there are things you have to unpack. And here's the thing. In the unpacking and in the cleaning up, he cleaned out not only the pain from the divorce, there was childhood trauma there.
Yes.
There was things I didn't even know was there.
Exactly.
I was like, whoa, okay, you just cleaning everything. So I had to become vulnerable. And if we aren't vulnerable, then we don't allow ourselves to really reset.
Yes.
And to start over.
Yes, I agree. Ria, anything you'd like to add to coping mechanisms, healthy and unhealthy?
Listen, as Jason was talking, I started to think about a whole lot of stuff. Now, one of the things that I committed to for the sake of my kids was that I wasn't going to put myself in a space where they saw me with a bunch of different partners.
Yes, yes.
Because I knew that they were watching me. Yes. I needed to set the example for them. And that was the position that I chose to take. Mm-hmm. Of course, eventually it came to the point where my daughter is like, so mommy,
are you dating?
Are you going to date anytime soon? Because she's in the teenage years now. And she's like, are you going to date? Like, what's happening? And I'm like, girl, just chill out. Yeah. Just chill out. It's okay. Mommy's good. But I did not want to put myself in that position for the sake of them.
Yes.
Right? I wanted to make sure that I remained the example that I wanted them to see. They would not be able to say, well, mommy went to Tom, Dick, and Harry. Let's use those names.
Yes.
And it was something that gave them an example or something for them to model after. That wasn't going to be my story, and it isn't my story.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of what may have been coping mechanisms for me, I think for me, it wasn't, I pull away. I pull away, and while I pull away, I could get in because I'm an introvert, many people don't realize that I am. I could go in my own little corner and just stay there. Mm-hmm. Now, when I stay there, I tend to get very quiet. Now, those people who are very close to me, they know that if they see me quiet for too long, they need to check in. Mm-hmm. Wow. So my best friend, she normally comes, hey, what's happening? I hear nothing from you. I hear nothing from you. What is going on? And she's able to pinpoint those moments when I need something to happen.
You need the person to do it.
Yeah, I need that person to come in. So what normally happens yet again, and this is something that works for me. They know, those people who are very close to me, they know that when I'm in those moments that I'm pulling away, then you need to put on that little worship music or carry me to the beach.
Yeah, the beach.
You know, like how they say, take me to the water. Yeah, take me to the water. And that's going to help me to get myself back to where it is that I need to be.
Yes, you talked about commitment, because I made a commitment to myself after I got separated. You ain't taking no numbers for a year. You ain't talking nobody to somebody for a year. It was a very hard year. I'm going to tell you, it was a very, very hard year, but I think I needed that for myself, because from 13 to when I got married, I was relationship to relationship, no breaks. I never gave myself a break. It was like, okay, that won't finish. On to the next. And it was a very unhealthy way of dealing with relationships. That's the commitment I made to myself. But some unhealthy things I did is definitely eat. Like, I'm going to treat myself to whatever I want to eat today. Whatever it is, how much it is, I'm just going to eat. Ice cream was my best friend. I think that was an unhealthy way of dealing with my pain. It's like a comfort food. Ice cream is like comfort food. Mm-hmm. But a very healthy way of dealing with my pain was writing. And I started writing songs around that time. Nice. So I was always somebody who wanted to be able to sing. And I said, girl, you can't sing? But you're an actress and you can rap. So let's go rap this song. Let's go rap this song. Oh, yes. And I started writing songs and rapping, and that really helped me. Yes. Jason just don't know. But anyway, back to so I'm going to thank you. And Jason, since you are a first-time guest of a Safe Space podcast, you get to pick from the Healing Bowl, an affirmation from the Healing Bowl.
Oh, I love this.
Yes. So please pick it and look at the camera and read it to our audience.
So there are two. Oh, there's one. Okay. Okay, so this is actually great. It says, I see challenges as an opportunity to grow and become a better version of myself. I'll repeat that. I see challenges as an opportunity to grow and I become a better version of myself. I love this.
Amen. Amen. So thank you to Jason, thank you to Rhea, and thank you for watching. Family, remember, peel back the layers. See you next episode. Yes, I want to heal. Yeah. Wait, I got to feel. What? No. Ooh, I just don't know. But I want to grow. Where can I go? To a safe place. Talking about a safe space. Yeah, a safe space. Special thanks to my glam team. Hair by Onyx, makeup by Ajua, clothing by Jadazzles.